Maclunky.
Welcome to the championship match of the Kissimmee, Florida Planetary Qualifier, hosted at the Coliseum of Comics and brought to you by Maclunky Gaming. Today, we have Andrew Cox, aka Reflex, facing off against CoDameron from Bothan Network. Joining us with expert commentary are Tower Number 9 and Endless. Enjoy the match.
For anyone just joining in, this is going to be a Boba Yellow 30 HP match versus a Boba Red Tarkintown. And the word on the street here is that Boba Yellow 30 is favored in this matchup. We will have to see how this goes.
Delicious looking Boba showcase. Oh no! Snake eyes.
The double ones. And an
Versus
11,
an 11.
here.
Oh my goodness.
All right.
All right. Note to self. That did not mean literally anything about the match to come.
Look, I don't know about if the match is going to be close, but the die roll was not close. I'll tell you that.
Correct. Correct.
All right. And yeah, let's get things. It looks like they're getting underway. This is the finals. I believe finals matches are untimed. Maybe that weird like special tiebreaker applies in the top cut to the finals, but imagine how crazy that would be. Imagine if like the finals of Worlds was decided by who had more damage left on their base in games 1 and 2.
Opaque dice DQ.
Imagine that. I don't think they would do that. Okay. So and Beatsa in chat saying opaque dice DQ. I think the opaque dice rule is broadly not enforced. And if it was enforced, I'm pretty sure you would get like a penalty point or something instead of getting DQ'd. That being said, if you used opaque dice and it was found that you had cooked them or whatever, that I think would be a DQ.
Yeah, certainly.
And that might actually be not only a DQ, but it's a DQ and you're banned. Fantasy Flight has totally banned people for extended times in the past if they were found to have cheated in major competitive events. I think some people have actually even been banned for multiple years.
Yeah, that's correct. There's been some interesting cheats, especially when they were in charge of the miniatures. Like stacking a damage deck, all kinds of stuff.
Oh yeah, back in the X-Wing days when you'd have a deck for like critical hits.
Right, you would remove all the direct hits.
Thrawn says, didn't an X-Wing guy get lifetime? I don't know if there have been lifetime bans. I think one guy was banned for multiple years for cheating in U.S. Nationals and Conquest, and I remember this because I was actually one of the players that turned out to have been bamboozled there, and that was like quite straightforward. It was a guy who straight up would like draw extra cards at sometimes, and people found it like watching the matches back after the fact. And I think the guy claimed various things in his defense, and I think he did actually, to his credit, I think he did actually end up like mailing the trophy to the person who had come in second. And I don't know if he was feeling, I don't know if he cheated on purpose and was feeling guilty about it, or if it had been a mistake and he was feeling guilty about it. But one way or another, he did at least try to make things right in that regard. So, good for him there. Looks like we're starting off now. Reflex versus CoDameron. Reflex with the initiative, and it's going to be a Merc gunship hitting the field. Does CoDameron have that Tarkintown start to clear this Merc gunship off the board?
Daring Raid.
Yeah, he doesn't even need Tarkintown. Daring Raid is going to clear a Merc gunship without Tarkintown even needing to be used. That's not a bad start.
This is why I love Daring Raid.
I'm a big Daring Raid fan. And then Kylo's TIE Silencer on the field. Hey, that's a pretty good turn for Co, if you ask me.
Yeah, that's a really good start. Like, that's what you want to see.
No, I have no complaints about that. It's going to be the Humble Standard TIE Fighter. That's an interesting card there. But it's taken down by the ISB agent, the 1 HP on that TIE Fighter, turning into a big liability.
Sick. Cartel Spacer, no yellow unit to exhaust, so...
Yeah, Cartel Spacer, but it doesn't have the exhaust. Rebel Resource says, Co, if you win this, I will buy you a drink at Worlds. I think it's gonna. He fires off the surprise strike. I think that's gonna be 6 damage to the base. 6 damage to base here. Now, I will say, I think if you're Ko, I don't actually think you want to start with a surprise strike this early. I would be a lot happier playing out a like 7th Fleet Defender or a Boba Disintegrator or some additional unit. Surprise strike, I usually think of as being kind of a closer card that I mostly want to play later in the game. People declaring jinx in chat with Rodney saying jinx after Thrawn and Rodney both said it was an insane start at almost the same time. And Deck 104 said he'd buy Ko a drink just for being a nice guy and contributor to the community. Hey, yeah.
Hey, agreed.
CoDameron is responsible for that recorded footage from the second day of Gen Con that I commentated a while ago. Oh, it's a shoot first from Reflex.
Nice.
Reflex playing some kind of old school cards. I'm not sure when the last time I saw Tie LN or shoot first in a Boba deck was. It's been a while, but Reflex is apparently making it work since here he is in the finals.
Yeah, shoot first is a legitimate card.
Rebel Resource says, "Hey, I'm not that nice. Got to win for me to pay."
Bodhi Rook.
Ooh.
It's
Bodhi
nothing.
Rook, but it blanks out. There's not a single target in hand there for Bodhi Rook to remove because Bodhi Rook does not work on units. It's only non-unit cards, and CoDameron is bringing out his own Cartel Spacer and a copy of Kylo's Tie. 7 damage on Reflex's base, no damage on Ko's base. Tarkintown has still not been fired here.
5 resource turn. Boba flip incoming. And I mean, Ko looking strong here. Yeah, he might have a
On the
cunning
other
and no good to be
hand,
dead.
he still has to do 23 damage. Deck 104 says, very cool Hyperloops token.
That's old school Star Wars Destiny.
Yeah, Hyperloops has been a group for quite some time.
I still use my Destiny mat. I still use my Kylo Destiny mat from release.
Now, here's the thing. So if we do indeed have a Cunning in hand there for Reflex, he could use Cunning, exhaust 2 of those units, and then do a discard from hand to get the 1 card Ko has in hand at this point. And Thrawn says low cards in hand for both too. Both went super low these first 3 turns. I don't know that he has a Cunning though. Someone was saying that he had a Cunning in the chat, but it looks to me like he has. Is that a Tie
It's an
Advanced? It
advanced.
is.
Yeah.
Tie
Oh,
Advanced
yeah.
buffs Bodhi Rook. Bodhi Rook is an Imperial.
Yeah, Bodhi is both a Rebel and an Imperial.
Only unit in the game to have both of those traits.
Yeah, he's a double agent. Yeah,
And yeah,
I
people says
also...
it might be no good to me dead. I think that's correct. I think he has a no good to me dead in hand. Ko has 1 card in hand. What is it?
It's a Tie Advanced. Putting it on
What
the
a
ISP
development.
agent.
That is crazy. What the heck is going on with this game? This is a wild situation.
I love it. This is what we want. This is what we wanted. We wanted a wild finals.
I don't know why Reflex is playing the Tie. Maybe he's going for a similar space queue rather than some of the other cunning Bobas that we've seen before, and that's why he has cards like the Tie Advanced and the basic Tie in the build. It would make sense if especially if he's going for like the triple dark raid type game plan. It's a little interesting. Reflex is apparently a very experienced player on Boba Yellow, so he may have found out a composition that works better than some of the more classic builds.
Right.
Looks like he's going to send his Cartel Spacer in to clear out CoDameron's Kylo's Tie Silencer. So if you're Ko, I think you're just pushing damage to the base at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Reflex is, he's in a position where he needs to be the control. Yeah, he's not the beatdown currently.
So let's see here. That Bodhi is a 5/5. And that
Yep.
means that if Ko sends in his and the ISB agent's a 3/5. So I think Ko probably wants to send his ISB agent. No, he doesn't send the ISB agent to base.
No good to be dead on Boba.
No good to be dead on Boba.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, really not great. Bobby Sapphire says, so Reflex hasn't been on stream all day. I didn't realize this was his list. This is a wild list we tested for a while. Just be all space to dodge super laser attack against green Boba. Yeah, that's very interesting. I think a bunch of players have kind of converged on those sorts of tactics. Now he sends ISB agent into Bodhi. I'm a little surprised that it's Bodhi and not base, but maybe he thinks his opponent has now slowed him down enough that he can no longer just try and race here.
Right, so he's Tarkintowning, yeah.
Bobby Sapphire, I was thinking a similar thing using a yellow Sabine that was heavily space focused. I think a bunch of the Boba Reds have kind of the same game plan, where a lot of people have identified, hey, some of these Boba Green builds are maybe weaker in space, and that's where I'm going to focus in order to try and get through.
So
Yeah,
this
Thrawn,
turn,
I know he did it for Tarkintown, but if I were Reflex, I might well have attacked Bodhi into that ISB agent anyway. So I was a little surprised that that the ISB agent went for that attack rather than just putting damage on base.
this turn
But
right
I think
here, kind of a big reversal. Reflex now looks like he's in control of the game. Like he's got an exhausted Boba. His Boba's up. He could flood space. And I think he's pushed more damage onto the base than he's got on his own base. So
yeah. Bobby Sapphire says we had moved away from this list because it loses to Boba Yellow, but he must have thought it was a great call for the weekend, and his success today shows that it was a great call. Yeah, though I think it may be a little unfortunate for him to wind up against that Boba Yellow in the finals if this is his weakness. But maybe CoDameron will, or wait, I'm sorry. Reflex's list loses to normal Boba Yellow. Okay, yeah. So I was thinking you were talking about Ko's list for a moment, and Reflex's list. Yeah, I mean he's not against another Boba Yellow. He's against Boba Red, where I think he is quite favored. Yes, Blue Devil Boxer. Reflex attacked it into ISB. No, I believe what happened, Blue Devil Boxer, was co-attacked Bodhi with the ISB agent. Bodhi attacked the base and then used Tarkintown. And that's why the base has taken 9 damage, because there was 5 from Bodhi and 4 from Boba.
another Bodhi
Reflex
Rook.
ISB into Tarkintown is what I thought was going to happen. Another Bodhi, and this time it
He
looks like
catches
there are
2
2
events.
events. What's the one on the
Yeah.
bottom? The
Is
one
that
on the top is a
Waylay?
daring raid. Yeah, I think it's a waylay.
Yeah, it looks like Waylay to me.
And unlike, so it is a waylay, and he bounces it. Daring raid fired off at the base. I don't know. At this point, CoDameron looks like he's not ahead in this race.
Yeah, he needs some gas. Like
Gas.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, there's a raider. That's a
there's a
good
little bit
card,
of
but he doesn't
gas.
have an easy kill lined up.
No.
If he had a surprise strike to allow his Boba to take out the opponent's Boba, that would be
His
pretty
Boba
nice.
ready
But
is finally recovering from the no good to be dead.
Ko only has 12 HP remaining.
Yeah,
Reflex
I see a cunning in hand, I think, for
has
Reflex.
Reflex also taken 12 damage. Is that orange die being used as a tens place?
I actually can't tell, which is a little bit weird.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what they're doing there. I think maybe the orange die is a tens place and Reflex is taking 12 damage. Not sure. But that leaves Reflex with 18 HP remaining on the 30 HP deck. And Claire says, yes, tens place. Okay, cool. So 18 HP left for Reflex and 12 HP left for Ko.
I mean, Ko is in striking distance.
You mean Reflex?
Yeah, Reflex is in striking distance of Ko here.
Okay,
That's
so
fine.
Boba clears Bodhi.
Has to do that, yeah.
Ko still has his tie advanced in space. Four
And
resources. There's
cunning.
Cunning buffing Boba. And random discard clears the Raider, the only card left in Ko's hand. I think this
Nice
is
discard
going to
choice.
be about it because
Yeah,
Reflex swings in for what is that? That's going to be 8
that's
damage?
8. Yeah,
Yeah, so
that is
now all he has to do is
brutal.
swing with Boba and it's game over. And CoDameron is not close to winning the game himself. 15 damage left for 15 HP left for Reflex. Only 4 HP left for CoDameron. He really needs to hit. I mean, I don't even know. You either have to kill Boba immediately or have a no good to me dead, I think. And even
Yeah,
then, you
so
might
he needs
immediately lose to Fet's Fire Spray or something.
right. He shakes on the first match.
Yeah,
Or
all he
yeah,
has is a Boba swing, doesn't get the kill, and there's the handshake. That's going to be
right.
a win for Reflex. And
He-
can Reflex win this next round to close things out and take the finals?
He's like, he discarded my Raider. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. But honestly, even if Ko had played that Raider, he was still in a pretty losing position, I feel.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think cunning on Boba Fett is just crazy.
Ko had a strong opening, but midway through the game, it felt like the roles sort of shifted. Reflex became the beatdown, and Ko was not able to control him. Hyperspace Cube says, pilot or not, it's a bad matchup. We will see how this goes.
I think the cunning discard a card from my hand is just really brutal in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, when you're only have one card in hand, that random discard isn't really all that random.
No, it's not random at all, and was discarding a little bit of help there. But even then, like he needed a surprise strike to kill the enemy Boba like immediately, and even
Let's see if
then,
CoDameron can do a better job here in round 2. It might be tough. He does get to go first. I'm not actually sure if going first is desirable for Boba Red Tarkintown. It probably is. It's at least interestingly in question. I think if I were going to play it, I would want to do a bunch of games to try and figure out the first or second choice there, because I do think there's at least some question about whether it's more favorable to go second thanks to the ISB agent and daring raid plays. All right. Is that a fingers crossed emoji in the chat there?
yes, it is.
Fingers crossed and some sparkles there from Hey SR3. Players are shuffling up. If Reflex wins this game, that could be the end of the tournament.
Match point here for Reflex. Drawing their initial 6, taking a look.
All right.
Oh, he just passed initiative to
I guess CoDameron does want to go second.
yeah. So we can ISB Tarkintown. I mean, that was clearly the opener, right? It's either ISB Tarkintown or during raid, ready and play a 2-drop. Take some mulligan.
Okay.
Didn't like what he saw.
All right. I'm hoping for CoDameron to pull off a big win and take us into game 3. I am
Likewise.
a big fan of 3-game matches, but as people are saying, Reflex may be the favorite here with this Space Skew Boba Yellow build. And here we go. Reflex leads off. Oh, that's not a great start. A Snow Trooper Lieutenant with nothing to buff. ISB Agent response. ISB Agent shows a... What is that?
Waylay.
That was a Waylay? That didn't look like a
I
Waylay.
think
Maybe I'm
so.
crazy.
I thought it was a Waylay.
Chad, did anybody see what that card was? Maybe it was a Waylay. But there's the ISB Agent Tarkintown combo with Boba to ready up the resource and play out a
Oh, it was a
yeah,
look the
look the
other
other way.
way.
Okay, that's what I thought. So look the other way, I think, is the 0 cost card that it's an exhaust, but the opponent can pay 2 to counter it, I believe.
Right, exhaust or
Uh,
pay 2. Yeah.
all right, so
You
this is a
pay the
good start.
2.
This is a good start for Ko. You kill their opening unit and bring out another unit of your own in addition to the ISB agent. The board is looking nice for CoDameron right now. Let's see if he can keep that pressure on and win. There is a okay, that's a pretty legit card here. The 7th Fleet Defender, poised to potentially remove that Kylo's TIE Silencer. 3 damage to base from the TIE Silencer. Reflex taking the initiative. What will Ko do now? One play that might be nice is a disabling Fang Fighter to knock the shield off that and force it into a trade. But it looks like it's going to be a punishing one instead. Hyperspace Cube saying, look the other way is tech against Boba Yellow. Yeah, I could see that being huge if the opponent fires off a Cunning and gives their unit +4 and then you exhaust them for 0. Could be a very unpleasant surprise for an opponent. Here we go.
Turn 3.
Shoot
Shoot
first
first.
from the defender, taking out that punishing one.
And doesn't lose the shield because of shoot first.
Correct.
Oh man, that is so brutal.
3 to base from Kylo's TIE Silencer. Reflex spends big for a
And now
TIE
buffing.
Advanced, buffing up that defender, and I think Ko playing a TIE Advanced to buff the ISB agent. It's funny, TIE Advanced for a while did not see very much competitive play at all. It was widely considered to be a bad fleet lieutenant. But with the advent of these Imperial space-focused decks and with Triple Dark Raid, which is potentially quite good for it, the TIE Advanced is seeing some more play in competition.
Yeah, Imperial Tribal kind of not a thing.
Tarkin.
Outside of Tarkin, yeah. Outside of Tarkin, yeah.
But now we're seeing some of it with these Boba builds, and Reflex was playing the what's it called, the Snow Trooper Lieutenant as well.
Yeah, Snowtrooper Lieutenant, not a bad call.
Reflex versus CoDameron. Right now, Reflex probably a bit up on board, but CoDameron has done significantly more damage to the base here.
It's like a triple dark raid in hand.
That is a good card. A triple dark raid into a triple dark raid into a ruthless raider for on Ko's side of the board would be really good because the 2 damage ping from the raider would then be able to remove that TIE Advanced. But it's Reflex who has the initiative here. Not sure exactly what the players are discussing here. We do not have player audio at this time.
Yeah, it's a shielded. I think they're trying to clarify that TIE Advance is a shielded, or not TIE Advance, the TIE.
It has 2 XP and a shield.
Right, so it is a 5/4 shielded currently.
Right, because it looks like they're using different counters for the experience to make that more clear. Those are, I think, acrylic +1/+1s there instead of the die. So and that does just represent the buff from the TIE Advanced. Let's see how things go here. That shoot first paying off there, allowing him to remove a 4 HP unit and keep his shield, which is a pretty nice benefit there.
Yeah, shoot first is kind of huge.
It's a good card. A lot of people have cut it these days, but I don't know. I also think as a Sabine player, a shoot first can potentially be a big obstacle for me.
It requires pretty precise timing.
Yeah, it's true. It has to line up.
Yeah, you have to line it up, which is, it's a skill. It's kind of a skill thing. It's not as straightforward as some other cards.
Having Boba's ability to get the resource back from the shoot first is pretty nice, though, because you can potentially shoot first, clear a unit, and then still play on curve for the turn. All right. Whatever that discussion was, it looks to have concluded, and Reflex with the initiative here. He does have 20 base HP remaining instead of 25 for Ko, but I do think his board is a little better. It'll be interesting to see how this goes. In the previous game, it felt like Ko kind of shifted to being the control at around this time, and I think that ended up being quite bad for him. But I'm not sure how easily he could have avoided it. Shoot first again.
Kills the advance. There you go.
TIE advance. There's another TIE advance thanks to that shoot first. 2 resources. Oh, that is
brutal.
not what Reflex wants to see. Cartel Spacer exhausting that big buffed defender.
Love it. That is
Cartel
great for
Spacer
Ko.
is based on the unit's cost rather than its power, so the Cartel Spacer sees that ISB agent and exhausts the buffed defender. Very much a solid play there for Ko, developing his board a bit and dealing with a big unit from the opponent. Boba Fett on the field now for Reflex. If Ko gets to attack with both these units plus Boba, he could do, that's another 10 damage. He would leave his opponent on 20 damage taken.
With 0 on his end.
Right.
Which is a significant life.
Triple Dark Raid here, though.
What is he fishing for? Fire spray?
I mean, so let's think about that. Fett's Fire Spray, TIE Advanced buffing the other TIE Advanced wouldn't be a joke. If he has a Cartel Spacer of his own, he could bring that out and exhaust the silencer there. He could bring out a Defender or a Phantom. Looks like he's made his choice, but is maybe thinking it over. Hyperspace Cube suggests outmaneuver. Oh, whoa! That is a surprise.
Whoa.
ATST.
Whoa.
Not a card that's normally even in the build, but in this situation, hey, triple Dark Raid into an ATST is no joke.
Yeah, that's severe.
Outmaneuver. Outmaneuver into the ground arena.
Yes.
Boy, this is a spicy game. The triple Dark Raid ATST exhausted, as well as Reflex's Boba Fett. CoDameron getting some huge exhaust this turn. Not only did that buffed defender get countered by the Cartel Spacer, but that ground arena exhausted as well.
Trades the
Oh
TIE
no,
advance.
but CoDameron trades there with his silencer. If I were I would be going straight for the base. I would not be taking trades. I feel like trades are sort of moving into that trading position and trying to be the control instead of the beatdown. I feel like that was the moment at which he lost the previous game, and I think I would just be going for maximum damage on the base at this point. I could be wrong. I don't know. This is a very exciting game, and it is well outside the normal play patterns and lines that you would see every day, with stuff like, outmaneuver being used to counter triple Dark Raid ATST. That is wild. That's a good point, Pizza. Pizza says he had to take that trade to enable Boba's ability.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can see that. Okay, so by doing that, he's able to play out another card. That makes sense. That makes sense.
Right. Trades it, gets the removal, untaps, plays punishing one.
I might just be a bloodthirsty aggro player. I'm still not sure that's what I would do, but I think the reasoning there does make sense. So there is a dead from Reflex exhausting Ko's Boba, and now I don't know if you're Ko. I think you swing with punishing one because to prevent it from being killed by the defender before it swings. So now he is up to 20 damage inflicted on Reflex's base, and he could potentially do substantially more damage this turn. If I'm Reflex, I'm a little worried here, especially because there does not look to be a copy of Cunning in hand. Kat says it's difficult to leave units alive against double Cunning because Cunning can blow you out if you let them have units. While that is true, I also think Ko might have the exhaust tech to deal with that, although I could be wrong. He may well have resourced those options away. We see Ko swinging in with the ISB agent, 23 damage. Reflex's Boba swings in for 4.
7th
Ko's
Fleet.
only card is a 7th Fleet Defender. And Reflex
ATST
just
comes down.
plays the ATST. I don't know. I think Reflex might be in trouble here. He has a lot of damage on the board, but he only has 7 HP left.
Yeah, he's like shrugging his. You can see his hand motions.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, he could draw Cunning and get like a huge blowout here potentially.
Yeah.
Rebel Resource has all these starter deck cards. Ha ha. I
Hey,
mean, dude, we've seen some wild stuff in this game.
hey,
This has
six,
been
7 overwhelm ain't bad.
this has been so the problem with the ATST is that it doesn't have any immediate board impact unless
Yes,
you bring it out with a sneak attack or with a triple dark raid or you have ambush for it. And in
correct.
set 1 it did see some play as an ambush piece with ECL or Admiral Piet.
Right.
But that triple dark raid play for it was very spicy, and the outmaneuver to counter it even wilder. What a sequence! All right, can CoDameron find the damage he needs to win this game? His Boba Fett is still going to be exhausted, but he does have 3 units here.
Yeah, so he's looking currently at 9 damage showing, which is
How
not
much
lethal.
damage does Reflex have on the board? Reflex has what? A 15 damage on the board? That's not
Yeah,
lethal though. Even with a surprise strike or a cunning,
yeah,
it would
5.
not be enough.
Yeah, 15 showing. That's correct. So it's not lethal.
ISB agent swings 3 damage into the base. I think that's what, 26 now? Is that what I'm seeing? 26 damage on Reflex's base?
I can't read it. I'm sorry. My
Yeah, it
screen
looks
is
like
too
it's a
small.
26 according to Claire. Nice. So now all we need is any attack buff from CoDameron on one of his remaining space units would win this game. Or any attack plus a Ruthless Raider. Reflex doesn't have something that's going to answer both of those. No Cunning for the double exhaust. Attack from the 7th Fleet Defender. Ko swings with his own defender down to 1 HP for Reflex. A Daring Raid or a Ruthless Raider ends this game. Reflex looking at his options here, but I don't know that he has an out.
My little heart is just leaping inside for CoDameron right now.
I don't think he can find lethal when he's this far behind, and he has to wipe the entire board to prevent Ko from just winning with first attack on initiative. I don't think. And there's
Daring Raid.
Daring Raid to win the game.
Game 3,
Oh,
baby.
what a
Let's
match!
go. Let's go, CoDameron.
CoDameron gets the win in a crazy game 2. Those were some wild plays. Manages to win over Reflex, and we are going to game 3. Man, what a match! That was so wild with the triple dark raid into ATST countered by an outmaneuver. That was truly wild. What gameplay! CoDameron versus Reflex, and they going to change their sideboarding? It is actually possible the players are going to pull out some new tricks here. Let's see what happens. It looks like they both might be making some changes. Pizza says, "What a great finale for set T2 PQs." Yeah, I have to say this has been a really fun event. There's been some crazy matches, and this one is especially interesting with some of these unconventional plays. Both players may be doing some extra sideboarding here. Let's see what happens as we move on to the final game of the final match here at the Coliseum of Comics.
I am so ready for this match, man. Like, what a hype game, too.
Yeah, and we got over 100 people watching here. Chat, what are you guys? Who are you guys cheering for? Are you hoping that Reflex with the unconventional space-focused double yellow Boba will take this, or are you rooting for CoDameron with the 25 or with the Boba red Tarkintown? It's very interesting. Hyperspace Cube says he's so happy that the anti-Boba yellow tech came through. Must repeat for game 3, please. So he seems on the CoDameron side here. Could be very interesting. Pizza says cheering for not a blowout. Yeah, that last game was wild. And we are on to game 3, which is what I love to see as a commentator. Rodney says, "I just hope Boba loses." Yeah, maybe we'll see I don't know how that could happen. Maybe they could both be DQ'd somehow. They could start illegitimately discussing a prize split and both be DQ'd. Okay,
Uh,
and let's see here. Time Load Gaming says I'm cheering for another Boba 1 Tarkintown PQ winner. Sweet Cannoli says gotta go for Boba Red.
yeah, I think a lot of people are like, Bova Yellow, we're over that.
GA Thrawn, heir to the Empire, says Team Green Boba is behind Team Red. Yeah, it's interesting. It seems like, at least for now, the chat is on CoDameron's side. Let's see if he can pull it off after a loss in the first game of this match and a impressive win in game 2. Can he get the win in game 3? And Sweet Cannoli says Boba Green is washed. Hey, Boba Green didn't make the finals. Boba Yellow and Boba Red did. Now, to be fair, I think these are kind of counter decks, but that's sometimes that's what you need. And if you can counter the popular deck and still do well enough in your other matchups, that can be very strong.
We can only say in Bova Green, we see your fraudulence.
Bilskowski says go Reflex. And Link TCG posts hashtag Boba Tarkintown Global Team. Rebel Resource cheering on CoDameron. I think Reflex has made CoDameron go first here, which is really funny. That is not what you normally see in Star Wars Unlimited.
No. You got to respect the ISB agent.
We are approaching our 10th hour of this stream. And depending on how long the finals are and whether we have a winner's interview and so on afterwards, we might well get there. Okay. I think CoDameron may have passed first action. Yeah, passes first action. Merc gunship from Reflex. ISB agent shows a no good to me dead. I think we're going to see that same ISB Tarkintown start that CoDameron likes to go for here. Initiative taken. ISB agent Tarkintown combo. Boba readies up the resource. And does CoDameron have a 2-cost unit to follow up? No, he doesn't. He
No.
just passes this time. So a bit weaker than the starts that we've seen previously, without a unit like that Kylo's TIE Silencer to follow up and improve his board. Time Load Gaming says, oof, this has got to be rough for Reflex. Well, CoDameron had a start like this in game 1, and Reflex was still able to get the win. And additionally, CoDameron missed his follow-up play. So the ISB agent Tarkintown setup with Boba is extra good if you can then follow up with another unit. And this time this time CoDameron didn't have one. But Reflex's turn 2 is very bad. All he has is a Snowtrooper Lieutenant with no unit to buff with it. He just plays a 2-cost 2/2 that is not where you want to be.
Yeah, he would much rather have seen Bodhi Rook maybe snipe something out of CoDameron's hand.
Absolutely endless.
Another
ISB agent for CoDameron reveals a surprise strike. 1 damage. Is he going to use his ISB agent to kill that guy?
Probably.
I probably would at this point.
Yeah, because you get the untap.
But the question is, does he have a good thing to play with those remaining resources? He might not. Reflex
Price
takes
strike.
initiative. CoDameron with a surprise strike into the base. This is too early to be playing that. As Junior says, I think both players have had bad draws. If you're you want to be developing units, not playing a surprise strike this early. And if you're a Reflex, this has been an extremely slow start. Rebel Resource says both players playing off curve. Yeah, neither of them have made full use of their resources this game. Four damage on Reflex's base. If I were CoDameron, what I would really want to do is have that ISB agent defeat the Snowtrooper, get my resource back, and then play a defender or something. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because at that point you are clearing that potential threat, especially if Reflex has a shoot first. You are setting up a scenario where you have more units and you can save that surprise strike for later in the game. Hyperspace Cube agrees with me. He needed to kill the Imperial to prevent shoot first shenanigans.
Yeah, because
Pizza
now there's
says
like a shoot
space
first.
heavy decks playing sad ground. LOL. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
think Ko went for that so that he could use his surprise strike, use those resources, even if it wasn't on the most efficient thing. But he could end up getting punished for it. Let's see what happens. I do see a shoot first in hand, and there it is. CoDameron maybe wishing now that he had cleared that Snow Trooper Lieutenant after all. Hyperspace Cube's claim there was quite correct. ISB agent does clear out the Snow Trooper Lieutenant, but it's a little late. On the other hand, that TIE Advanced now doesn't have a target from Reflex. Does Reflex take the initiative here? I think Reflex took the initiative. No, he just passed. He passed. And then CoDameron plays out a TIE Advanced, buffing his ISB agent, but Reflex bounces the ISB agent. Timeload Gaming says, yeah, this has been a weird start from both players. The No Good To Me Dead and ISB were important keeps in Boba 1 Tarkintown opening hand, but it's sad to see them not getting the space they need. Yeah, both players are kind of derping here. That's not an insult to the players, it's an insult to the draws.
Yeah, the draws are just not they're not cooperating. They're
Well,
going up to 5
Ko
resources.
is ahead because he's 1 HP behind on base, but he has a unit on the field and his opponent doesn't. So
Yeah.
he's ahead, but not by very much. As we move into the Boba flip turn. What a weird game.
Yeah. Both heading into like 5-6 resource territory, neither of them developing their board very much.
Some of the closest games are when either both decks are hitting their best plays or when both decks are derping and the players are having to improvise with whatever they can find. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like Lord of the Flies. You know, you're just trying to find whatever you can use.
CoDameron swings on in for 3 damage there. Maximus Mitch said the cards said let's make game 3 wild. Timeload Gaming says, loving the Showcase Boba 1. I need one. Hey, this is going to be a controversial opinion, guys, but I think Hyperspace Boba Fett collecting the bounty looks better than Showcase Boba Fett collecting the bounty. I know this is an edgy opinion, but I like the color balance more on the normal one. To me, the colors on the Hyperspace one are a little washed out, and yeah, there's the foil effect, but I think I like the color palette more on the standard artwork for that card. Claire says rare tower L.
It's weird because now
Okay.
I think L means legendary, but I know
No,
it's not what you
I
meant.
believe in this case she's mocking my mocking my art design preferences. Rodney Stubbs calls on me to delete this. All right, Reflex is finally going to deploy his Boba, but there's that No Good To Me Dead that people were discussing in the chat. CoDameron exhausts Boba immediately for 2 turns, and Reflex not loving his hand, it looks like, kind of looking through his cards, not entirely sure what to play. Rebel Resource says beauty is objective tower, and you on the wrong side of this one. Well, Reflex brings out a lurking TIE Phantom, not the best situation for the Phantom. CoDameron brings out a lurking TIE Phantom.
What is happening? All right, so we
wonder if
got
we're
a
just gonna
Boba flip.
I wonder if we're going to see those Phantoms trade with each other. But CoDameron's Boba doesn't get suppressed. He manages to land 4 damage on Reflex's base, but without having removed a unit this turn, he doesn't ready resources. Junior suggesting they have the same draw. Yeah, the funny thing is Reflex actually had a TIE Advanced in hand too, but he didn't end up using it because of the shoot first play with that other guy, and then the other ISB agent cleared the Snowtrooper before that TIE Advanced could buff it. And if Reflex were to go for the tie advance now, he could buff his Phantom, but then CoDameron could just trade it with his own Phantom. CoDameron is in a favorable position in this game for sure now. Reflex's Boba is still exhausted. Reflex had 11 damage on the base. CoDameron's base is untouched, and CoDameron has a stronger board.
Yeah, this is actually looking positive for Co.
It's not over yet, but people said this was a really bad matchup for CoDameron, and thus far he's been doing well. I think, is that a Cunning in hand though? I think I maybe see a Cunning, and that could be huge. Cunning is an extremely important card in this matchup for Reflex, and I think he may have one there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna run double color, your aspect legendaries are crucial.
Cunning it is. There we go. What does he choose? It's going to be double exhaust and a bounce, I believe. So the Phantom gets bounced, the tie advanced, and the Boba Fett get exhausted here. He doesn't go for the damage buff, but that's still going to be a big setback for CoDameron.
Yeah,
on the other hand, that's
Co
also
down.
a lot of resources for Reflex. Let's see what Co does next.
Yeah, Co on 6 unspent resources, basically pausing the game for a turn.
So Hyperspace says slam Ruthless. So Ruthless can't kill the Phantom. If it could, it would be absolutely amazing here, but he can't do that. If he had a Fett's Fire Spray, that could go and either kill the Phantom or just start putting pressure on the base. Now, he could also bring out Ruthless, put the damage on Boba, and just say, hey, this is more damage on my opponent's base. I'm putting more pressure on. Let's go. So I don't think Ruthless is exactly a terrible play, but it's not like the dream play it would be if it was able to do its damage to that Lurking TIE Phantom. Three resources, outmaneuver the Space Arena, exhausting that Phantom.
Very cool.
Not the hypest outmaneuver ever, but he still gets an exhaust there, and the downside is mitigated because Reflex already exhausted his cards, and then CoDameron just plays his Lurking TIE Phantom. That turn was essentially a wash. Nothing happened. The only thing that happened was people exhausted and bounced each other and then replayed the same stuff. There was literally 0 damage to either base from that turn.
Yeah, so
and they have the same boards that they had going into the previous turn.
I think the main difference is that Reflex will have a ready Boba.
That's true. So I think Reflex gets a slight benefit from that because at the start of this turn, his Boba Fett was still exhausted thanks to No Good to Me Dead. So now he's going into a turn that's again basically the same turn, except this time his Boba Fett's ready. The downside is he did have to use a Cunning, which is one of his best cards, to get very little result. At least in terms of like lasting impact. He did forestall a lot of damage that would have gone his way that turn with the Cunning, so in that sense it was good. Oh, and there's the surprise strike to allow Reflex's Boba to take out CoDameron's Boba.
That's big right there.
That is a big play. That's an important interaction. Surprise strike means Boba can take out Boba.
And Quigs in the chat says that saved him 11 damage. So
yeah. Oh, okay, but there is the Cartel Spacer exhausting Reflex's Phantom. We've seen a lot of exhausts and bounces going around, and I think we might be about to see another one because I believe that's a Cantina Bouncer in hand from Reflex. Cantina Bouncer on that Phantom seems like it would not be a bad play by any means.
He's got the res for it, so let's see what he does.
What a match. This is wild. Maximus Mitch agrees with me, saying what a match there.
Cantina Bouncer.
Yeah, there's that Cantina Bouncer on the Phantom as predicted. CoDameron still has 5 resources and swings in for another 3 damage. Finally, some damage actually landing on a base here. 14 damage on Reflex's base. Not a single point of damage for CoDameron yet. And he then replays the Phantom and plays a Merc gunship. The Space Arena is looking really good for Co, but he has lost control of the ground arena at this point.
I mean, if he's going to race, like, he's in a great position. He's got 4 space
so let's
units.
look at how much damage is present on the board for each side, assuming no interaction. So CoDameron has 4, 7, 10. CoDameron has 12 damage, which is not quite lethal, but would leave Reflex on 4 HP. Reflex has For Reflex also has. Does he have 12 damage?
He
No,
has
no, he
11.
has 11 damage because the Cantina Bouncer's a 3/5.
Right, but
So
if he has another cunning, that's 15.
could be big. And the other thing I will say about this is while the amount of damage they have on board is comparable, CoDameron has done much more damage to Reflex's base in the earlier parts of this game. Reflex only has 16 HP left, while CoDameron has his full 25. Time Load Gaming says, what I love about Boba 1 Yellow is its ability to disrupt the opponent while building a board. Yeah, that's very strong. And Hyperspace Cube says Reflex has another Cunning. I don't quite see it in the hand there, but if it's true, Cunning is a huge card and could be just what Reflex needs to try and gain control of this game. But if CoDameron fires off another spicy outmaneuver, he has the ability to exhaust a bunch of Reflex's plays as well. Here we go. The players are readying up. Reflex considers his options. Reflex with the initiative. No, you could be right, Hyperspace Cube. I can't really tell. He's holding his cards a little more vertically than some of the other players have been that we've seen earlier. I do think he has some yellow event, but I wasn't sure if it was a Cunning. King DZ says he did just count to 4, likely Cunning. Let's see. So Endless, if you have a Cunning, yeah, he has a Cunning. I see it in hand. So Endless, if you
Yeah.
have Cunning, what do you choose here? If you're Reflex,
I mean, exhaust 2, buff a unit, I think.
exhaust 2 buff. Yeah, you could go for that. I think the real question is just exhaust 2 buff or exhaust 2 bounce. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe bounce might be better.
No, he goes for Bodhi Rook first, gets to see the hand. A triple Dark Raid, I can only imagine that's gone. And then
Yeah.
a Raider. So now CoDameron needs to play his. If he doesn't play his Raider, Reflex can play Cunning and use the random discard to strip it from the hand, because it's the only card in hand at this point. Now, CoDameron could swing with his Cartel Spacer and clear the Phantom while remaining alive. That would be a really good play normally, but I think he might want to bring out his Raider first.
Yeah, I think you just play the Raider, maybe do 2 to Boba leader.
The risk, yeah, so Raider doesn't really have a good target.
Yeah.
Merc gunship swing, Hyperspace Cube suggests that prevents the Merc gunship from being stolen. That's a good point. But I think he might eat a random discard and lose that Raider, which would be a bit of a blow there. Yeah, that's interesting. There is still 4 resources. There are still 4 resources up for Reflex. So if CoDameron does immediately play his Raider, then the Merc gunship can be stolen. So Co swings with the Merc gunship. Now it can't. If it's stolen, it will be stolen exhausted. But now Reflex can play Cunning and do like double exhaust random discard, or maybe buff one of your ground units random discard, or buffer. I mean, there's a lot of options here.
Yeah.
I think you got to go for the random discard, though, to try to just strip your opponent's option for the turn. You really don't want that Raider hitting the field.
Yeah,
But
you
I'm
want,
not sure that it's enough.
yeah, like making your opponent waste 6 resources is really good. Like that's clearly good. But is it enough, right?
The other question is whether CoDameron might have smuggle cards in this situation that would allow him to still make some use of his resources. A hotshot blaster is very unlikely.
There's cunning.
Exhaust, or no, bounce and double exhaust. He doesn't go for the discard.
Oh, interesting. Okay, this gives Ko a little window to get that Raider in play.
Yeah, Co could potentially play his Raider, and he could also. How many resources does he have? 8 resources.
Yeah, 8.
Oh, but here's something spicy. That Merc gunship, I think, could be stolen. No, he doesn't have enough. He doesn't have enough. Even after readying 2 resources with Boba, he won't have enough.
Boba in for 4.
Yeah, and it looks like the damage from the Merc gunship was dealt to Boba, so Boba now at 1 HP and could be killed by an ISB agent. Reflex pushing some damage to the base and is probably going to get another 4 damage from that lurking TIE Phantom, but I'm not sure that it's going to be enough. I think CoDameron is still in a strong position, even with 2 copies of Cunning being played.
Yeah, I mean the Cunnings. You wanted the Cunnings to do more there, ideally. and he wasn't able to make that happen.
I mean, and the thing is, the Cunnings didn't exactly do nothing, but they didn't like. This is kind of the problem with a bunch of cards from the Cunning aspect. They're getting like they're buying him time. They're getting a temporary advantage, but the long-term board state does not look good for Reflex here. With CoDameron having such a powerful board in space, and in fact, I think Co might have lethal on board this turn. Yeah, I think it's
12.
9 HP on the
12
base,
again.
and I believe there is 12 damage in space. So Reflex is staring down lethal on board, though he could potentially trade his Phantom for one of these units and thereby forestall it unless CoDameron has some damage buff, which he might easily have, to be
And
honest
I
with you.
think Co has a Daring Raid in hand right now also.
Interesting.
I think.
This could be it. Co has the initiative. He's taking a look at his opponent's discard pile.
He's trying
This
to see how
game
many
is
copies of Cunning are in there.
Reflex has successfully done some damage and stalled CoDameron, so he has 11 damage on Co's base, but he's taken 19 damage. Reflex with 11 HP remaining, CoDameron with 14 remaining. Rebel Resource says, beautiful Bothan network hand marker.
And in this scenario, like outmaneuver would seal the game.
Outmaneuver from either player would be huge here.
Yeah.
Reflex outmaneuvering space or CoDameron outmaneuvering ground would be a wild play and potentially very powerful here for either of these players. Reflex now looking at CoDameron's discard pile, and let's see what Co does. He does have the initiative here. What will it be?
I mean, there's a little part of me that's like, play it safe, spacer into Phantom.
Spacer into Phantom? Nah,
Nah, that's too
he's
safe.
going for the kill. He's going Raider into the base. There is 7 HP remaining for Reflex.
Yeah.
Let's see what Reflex has in hand. It's coming down to the wire. I'm not sure he's going to have a third Cunning to bail him out here. Hyperspace
Daring Raid and
Cube
a
says
Waylay.
CoDameron has Daring Raid and Waylay in hand. Daring Raid might be the final blow again. If CoDameron manages to hit with 2 of these space units, but Reflex trades the Phantom for one of them, Co might need that Daring Raid to get the final damage through. Puffy Muffin says, pretty sure Reflex has a surprise strike here. Time Load Gaming says, taking that Merc will put him out of lethal if he uses it to trade. So if Reflex swings the Phantom into the Merc gunship or into the TIE Advanced, then CoDameron only has 5 damage left on the board, which is not lethal. And however, if he has that Daring Raid as well, that does put it back into lethal range. Also, ironically, if CoDameron's Ruthless Raider could die here, it would actually be very good for Co.
Order base
He's
from the
going for
Phantom.
base. He's racing it. There's 10 HP left. 3 damage to base from the Merc gunship. 4 HP left for Reflex. If there is an attack buff from CoDameron, that could be it. Boba Fett into the base for 4. Both of these remaining units can hit for 3. CoDameron swings, and there's the surprise strike! Reflex wins! What a
Wow!
game! That is so close, but Reflex manages to get the win. He had, I believe, 1 HP remaining, but
Oh
his
my
surprise
gosh.
strike wins the game with exact lethal. What a match! Man, that was a crazy game. Reflex pulls out the win. CoDameron falls just short in one of the closest finals that I've ever seen in Star Wars Unlimited.
Thanks for watching and supporting Maclunky Gaming. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you next time.